All right, so usually when we do one of these, we start with something polished, right? A finished article, a final report. Well, not today. Today, we're going right to the source. We're taking raw, handwritten study notes on 5 classic poems, and we're going to bring them to life. This isn't just about the poems themselves, it's about the messy, beautiful act of understanding. So take a look. This is our source material. You've got scribbled thoughts, circled phrases, arrows connecting ideas all over the page. It's basically a map for understanding not just the poetry, but the deeply human stories packed inside. We're going to follow this map together and just see where it leads us. And that quote really just nails the theme for our journey today, doesn't it? Each poem is a totally unique window that looks out onto a different part of the human experience. We're talking loss, fear, hope, injustice, and freedom. So, you ready? Let's open that first window. We're going to start with something that's incredibly personal, but also, I think, universal. The fear of losing a parent. The poet, Kamala, is driving to the airport with her mother, and what she sees in the passenger seat next to her, well, it's something both profound and deeply painful. This is where the poem's power really crystallizes. Inside the car, the poet looks at her mother's face, and the notes describe it as ashen, like a corpse. Whoa. It's a sudden, stark vision of mortality. And to deal with that awful thought, she looks outside the window, only to see the world just bursting with life. Young trees that seem to be sprinting and kids happily running out of their homes. It's this absolutely heartbreaking contrast between decline and vitality, happening at the exact same time. So how do you even capture a feeling that complex? The poet finds the perfect image. She says her mother's face is like a late winter moon. Just think about that for a second. A winter moon is pale, it's hazy, it's lost the vibrant energy it has in the summer. As the notes put it, it has lost its shine and strength. It's just a brilliant, quiet way to show her mother's growing frailty. Okay, so from that very personal, internal moment of quiet, we're going to shift to a huge, universal call for shared silence. Pablo Neruda's poem, Keeping Quiet, suggests that if every single one of us could just stop for a moment, we might actually be able to save ourselves. The poem kicks off with a really simple instruction that involves this number, 12. So why 12? What's the significance? Well, as our notes suggest, it could be the 12 hours on a clock, or maybe the 12 months in a year. Either way, it represents a complete cycle, a container for this one brief collective moment of pause. And the instructions themselves are just this simple. Neruda asks everyone on Earth to count to 12, and then, for that one single moment, do nothing. Don't speak any language, don't even move your arms so much, just be still. It's such a radical and yet incredibly simple idea when you think about it. So, what would actually happen in this exotic moment of stillness? The notes lay it out pretty clearly. The fisherman would stop and see the harm he's doing. The salt gatherer would finally notice his own hurt hands. Even the people planning wars would stop and reflect. The idea is that in that shared silence, we might finally break from our frantic, destructive pace and truly understand ourselves. From that moment of profound stillness, let's talk about what makes life worth living, even with all the sadness and struggle out there. The poet John Keats offers an answer in A Thing of Beauty, suggesting there's a powerful force that helps us all endure. Keats' definition here is just so powerful. A thing of beauty isn't some fleeting pleasure. No, it's a permanent source of joy. As the notes highlight, its loveliness actually increases with time. It never just fades into nothing. It becomes a kind of shelter for our minds, a place of peace and good health. And what are these things of beauty? Well, the poem gives us a whole catalog. It's the simple things in nature, the sun, the moon, the trees, the flowers. But it's also the stories we tell, the epic tales of mighty warriors who died for a cause. Keats says all these things are like an immortal drink, a blessing poured right onto us from heaven, giving us a reason to live on despite all the sorrow. So Keats finds beauty in nature and stories. But what happens when that beauty is completely overshadowed by a harsh reality? Our next poem pivots hard from the timeless to the immediate, exploring the deep, painful division between the rich and the poor in Robert Frost's A Roadside Stand. And this slide just captures the whole conflict of the poem. On one side, you have the rural people at their little stand, pathetically offering wild berries and squash. All they want is a little of that city money to feel some life in their hands. And on the other side,
You've got the polished city dwellers who just speed past in their cars, annoyed by the badly painted signs, clutching their money. The notes state it bluntly. The people at the stand feel the city folk are just cruel and mean.
The poem gets even darker, though, with this one terrifying phrase: "Who are the beneficent beasts of prey?" According to the notes, these are the powerful people, politicians and developers who promise to help the poor. They plan to move them into nice villages with theaters and stores, but their real goal is to profit off them, to control them, and ultimately to befool them. It's a chilling look at exploitation disguised as charity. So, from the injustice of society as a whole, we now turn to the struggle of one single individual. Our final poem, by Adrienne, tells the story of Aunt Jennifer, a woman who's trapped in an oppressive marriage, but finds a powerful form of resistance through her art. The key idea in these notes, the thing that unlocks the whole poem, is the massive contrast between Aunt Jennifer, the creator, and the tigers that she creates. This duality, it's everything. And here is that contrast, laid out plain as day. On one side, you've got Aunt Jennifer. Her fingers are trembling. She's weighed down by the wedding band that symbolizes her oppressive marriage. She is completely trapped. But on the other side, look at her creation. Her tigers are proud and fearless, elegant and totally free. They are everything she is not. And this is the poem's incredibly powerful conclusion. When Aunt Jennifer is dead, her terrified hands will still lie ringed with ordeals. She never escapes her circumstances, not really. But the tigers she made, they will go on prancing, proud, and unafraid. Her art becomes her legacy, a permanent, fearless testament to the freedom she could only ever dream of. So what have we learned on this journey through 5 different worlds? We've seen how personal loss can act as a painful mirror to just how vibrant life is. We've seen how collective silence could lead to a whole new kind of understanding. We've learned that beauty isn't just nice to have, it's an immortal gift that helps us endure. We've looked at the painful wound of inequality, and finally, we've witnessed how art can be the most fearless act of resistance. We've gone from a daughter's love to a global protest for peace, from the anger at injustice to the immortal power of art. We've covered a lot of ground. So the final question is for you. Of all these powerful windows we've looked through today, which idea is the one that stays with you?